So we're talking about social value and the social media. So I was trying to explain to you that you shouldn't allow the independence, the accessibility of social media erode your social value. The values that you have, the values that you have, it's inherent in you, the values that you've picked up because of the environment, the good values I'm talking about, the good values. Don't allow the social media to take it away. Don't use the social media as, okay, it's an avenue. I can say whatever I like. Always remember that you are moving from one stage to the other. If you are finishing maybe this year, next year you'll be in school. You could be in school, maybe abroad, you could be in school, even in Nigeria, it doesn't matter. But always know that I can't just do how as I please, because some professions that you're going into, there are expectations. For instance, if you're going to study law in Canada, there are prerequisites and good character, you'll be surprised. Good character has nothing to do with your grades. Good character has nothing to do with if you have all the A's. They just want to know that this person that we're handling this certificate to, will the person be able to stand in the society, and there won't be so many allegations of people coming and say this, because you're going to represent people anyway in court or wherever. So it's very important that we have to be careful what we do on social media. Don't go to parties and all you want to do is just to post maybe pictures that are, when your parents will see it, it will not be acceptable. Don't say because my friends are doing it, I will also do it, and it doesn't matter. Always remember that you check your mind with law in mind, with thinking that people are watching. Someday I could be a president, someday I'm going to be this, and I have to watch how I behave. Let's move to the next slide. Can you hear me? Next one, please. Next one. So we're talking about morals and social value. Your morals are driven by your personal beliefs. It's what you believe in. Society defines what that, so society also defines what is acceptable or not. There's some things you do say, oh, this is not acceptable in this environment. This is not acceptable in maybe the way you have spoken, maybe the way you are dressed. So it's also your own personal belief. But there are things that are morally acceptable. That when you look at it, you know that, oh, I have erred in this side. So I'm just saying that we should just be cautious of how we behave in any environment. Let's remember we're talking about law. So if you think that, oh, I can just go there and just break the law and just walk away, it doesn't work like that. You will be held accountable. And it says moral helps to define what is wrong, right or wrong. So you can also ponder in your heart and ask, this thing I'm about to do, is it good or bad? I'll just give you just a brief example. So there were these two international students that came to Canada, and of course they were underaged, I think 16 years, because you have age of maturity in Canada, which is 18. But if you are 16, you'll be called underaged. And whatever you do at 16 will be put under the youth criminal justice. So this friend, someone had been in Canada, one just came, told him that they should go to the bank, and he actually did an ID card with someone else's name. And all he told him was that, don't worry, just present it at the bank as your name. His name is a different name, but they wanted to defraud the bank. But the boy that they gave it to did not even know. But when we were questioning him, we asked him that if you took an ID card that is not your name and you presented it somewhere as if it's your name, I mean, even if you don't even know, morally, do you think it's right? He said it's wrong. And I said in law, it is called impersonation. And that means you'll be criminally charged. But fortunately for the person, the person that even told him walked away, because it wasn't the person that was apprehended. It was the youth that was apprehended. So I'm just saying that your morals, you check it yourself. This thing that this person has told me, is it right or wrong? So in there, you can also say, oh, I will know that it is right or wrong. So we have to be very, very careful. Let's move on. So importance of law. So let's just wrap it up. Importance of law, justice, and social value. So we just said that law affects every aspect of our lives. Law deals with crime, governs activities like, you won't believe, driving, employment, getting married, and even burial. So you can't just say somebody died, I will put the person on the road for them to decay. There are processes. Even in Nigeria, there are processes. Even driving, I'll give an example. An international student came to Canada, and he felt because he was driving in Nigeria, you could just enter a car and just drive. It doesn't work like that. You must do your licensing. The first one is, we call it a test, where you go to a test center to write an examination, and it's in 2 parts. Then after that, they give you a G1. That G1, you cannot drive on the road except there's somebody that has a G that is with you. So it's not just you come and just enter a car and just drive. So all those processes you have to go, and that's why I said law affects every aspect of life. Also in employment, same. Even getting married, even getting divorced, and also burial. We says law regulate profession, like the doctor has said. You cannot practice medicine or be a doctor without being given the license, and it's the same thing. They have regulatory body who gives all this licensing. So like a lawyer, like a nurse, like a doctor, even a musician, even selling of intellectual property. Like we are in school, I don't know about I left Nigeria 2016, but here when you work, when you write thesis, you are supposed to, there's something we call plagiarism. You can't just use people's work and not give them credit, intellectual property. And we say law gives rule of conduct that protect everyone's rights. We're almost rounding up. Next slide. So importance of law continued. We said make reasonable effort to understand the environment you are in. I cannot continue to emphasize. Every environment you are in, make reasonable effort. Don't just be blind to it. To understand which environment you are in, which law governs them, what regulations, what rules. All these things are very important. Read information before you sign. Sometimes they just give us documents, and they'll just tell you sign here, and you want to sign. There are some that are called waivers. They are called contracts. You can actually bind a lot of things by just appending your signature. And if there are issues, what they will say that after all, the person signed it. Nobody says the person read it. So reading is very important before we sign. So as students, if you go to embassy, even if you are going to any school, whether in Nigeria, ensure you read all these things before you. Don't say that, oh, I went there with mommy. I know mommy knows what is right. You are also being educated. You've spent how many years in this school? You should be able to know, read, and sign. And I said, know your rights. Know your right. You should know your right in any environment you are in. It is your right that will determine a lot of things. Ask questions. Don't be timid. Speak out. Your parents are spending a lot of money on you to educate you. Know your rights. Speak out when it's necessary. And I said, make your decision or follow a friend idea with law in mind. Even if a friend said, oh, do this, have this law in mind. If I do this, will there be implication? Will I be penalized? So always follow anybody's idea with your law in mind, that there's always penalty for everything. So this one specifically is those that will migrate maybe to UK, to the United States, or to Canada. So we say check your immigration paper and status to know when they will expire. Some of the experiences we've had before, because if you come and you are a student, you'll be given work permits, right? So you have to check when all those things have expiry date. Don't just say, oh, mommy got it for me, she should know. You are in the land, so you should know. Check your immigration paper and status to know when they will expire, not when they start calling you. Now say that, oh, I don't have this paper to stay in any particular country that you are. So it's very, very important. So be aware of what is happening in your school and your department. Don't just be blinded to everything that is happening. Ask questions. Speak to your advisors. Every department has an advisor. Sometimes some students are having challenges in their courses. They might want to change courses. Maybe they have a new interest. Talk to your advisor. The advisors are being paid to speak to you, to guide you. Open your mind, open your mouth, speak to them. I don't think I want to go on with this course. What do you think? This is my interest. They're going to help you. They're going to direct you. And always inform your parents. Your parents may be far away. Talk to them before you make a major decision. Don't just swap. Don't just change courses. Let them know why you are making the decision. So this one is just a requirement for those that might want to study law in Canada. So basically, anybody can study law, but you must have your first degree in any course. It could be psychology, it could be sociology, it could be any course. But after that, but remember, when you're in school, If you concentrate, you have a good grade. For you to go to law school, you must have like a B plus. But there's always an entrance examination that is called the LSAT, law school admission test. Except to pass that, you cannot enter the law school in Canada. But you have your first degree, but you must pass this exam with a very high score. So once you pass, you now go to the law school, which is 3 years. You have to spend 3 years in law school. And after law school, as the doctor has explained, you write the law society exam. So you say that, oh, I'm out of law school, I'll become a lawyer. No, you must be given the license. So once you pass the licensing exam, then you can practice law. And also there are areas of specialization. There's immigration law, there's employment law, there's different kind of aspect of law that you can actually practice. Specialization is good because it just gives you like a forte in a particular area, and it will help you also in anything you want to do. So some people do like immigration law because we are Nigerians. Then I'll conclude. I said laws are important to maintain peace in the society. Law is necessary for keeping of peace. It's just peace for us to be able to live together in one accord or in unity. That is why we are talking about law. And for the sake of tranquility, for peace, communities must develop and guarantee that the rule of law is applied fairly. When I talk about fairly, it means applied to everyone. Nobody is above the law. I think I conclude. That's my conclusion. That's all, folks, from me. Sorry if I've been speaking too fast. That's my conclusion.
So just give us a few minutes. We are going to ask this question, students to give us their questions, and I believe you are ready for them to give them the answers. I hope you enjoyed the session.
So I'm ready.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this session with her. Please, let's give her a round of applause. Let's appreciate the fact that she has left her whole work schedule to be with us here in Nigeria. She said it's just like 8:30 there in Canada. Okay. So right now, if you have a question, let me see your hands up. Okay. A country that is lawless, you will not have anything tangible. She has said so many things about the difference between Nigeria and Canada or any country outside Nigeria. And you are telling me you don't have any questions to ask her. So maybe the time for the question, we'll all stand up, we'll clap for the whole 10 minutes to appreciate her. That means you understood everything she said. Okay, let me say this. In this Nigeria, we are all blaming Buhari. We are blaming Sanwo-Olu. But when you finish eating your biscuit, you drop the paper or the wrap on the floor. When you're going home and you see that the gate is ajar, and you know the gate is supposed to be closed. I was even surprised, the particular student right there. I paid for this script. Nothing. Let me just relax myself. Those are part of those little things you do as a child that is going to be a better adult. She said it. She said the law is there. In Nigeria, we have laws. Though. Are we obeying it? So the correction starts from you and I. If you have any questions about the profession, about the topic, how many of you are planning to travel abroad immediately after your YA? To study abroad? And all these things she said, there's no question. Where are the humanities students, as in art students? You don't have any question for her? Okay. Yes, my dear, do you have a question? Thank you. Move forward. A round of applause for her, please. Please, let's clap for her. Thank you. Move quickly. Thank you.
My name is Adebayo Motoyosi.
Again?
My name is Adebayo Motoyosi.
Louder, please.
My name is Adebayo Motoyosi.
Adebayo Omotoyosi. That's a beautiful name.
And my question is, why does law affect every aspect of our lives?
Wow. For me,
I can hear you.
Why does law affect every aspect of our life? That's a very deep question. I like that. Thank you. God bless you. A round of applause for her, please. Why does the law affect every aspect of our life?
Thank you for the question, my dear. Law affects every part of our lives so that there will be social order, so there will be order in the society. Where there is no law, there is anarchy, right?
Okay.
So, for instance, I gave an example at the beginning, and I talked about when we come to school. You can imagine if coming to school, of course, those are little rules in school.
Yes,
If coming to school, we have different times. You know, maybe you are supposed to resume school 8 o'clock, and 8 o'clock is the resumption time. And some people decide to come at 9, some people decide to come at 10. And a teacher is supposed to commence his teaching at 8:20, right? And everybody just flipping in and out. Do you think the students in the class will be able to concentrate? No. So because it's an agreed, so there will be orderliness, so there will be, you know, people who can do things in a fair way, and that's why law affects every area of our society. If it affects you at home, like the MC spoke about, you know, we talk about you eat something, you throw it on the floor. You know, if everybody does that, what do you think will happen? Before you know it, you have heap of
environment. Yes,
right?
yes.
You have heap of garbage there, and it's not even good for our health. So law is important to maintain law and and order, or to maintain a society that is, let me use the word, sane, so that there won't be confusion, there won't be anarchy.
Thank you, Fumi. A round of applause for our teacher, our speaker. You should obey the law. You were told to come here and listen attentively and pay attention. How many of you did that? As a student, there are some things we do. The moment you do it the wrong way, that means you are disobeying the law. Another question from another student. Thank you.
My name is Esther Osatuame from SS2.
Again, Esther
Osatuame.
Osatuame. Beautiful name. Yeah, that was how we were saying. But you don't put one guy in your name these days. You don't post. I don't know. Yes, you're listening.
I'm from SS2 White.
Okay.
Malta, what are the necessary courses to study law in Nigeria?
Okay, the subjects and the steps to take. Okay, a round of applause for her. Fumi.
Yes.
Hello.
University. Of course, that was why you asked at the beginning, the art students, right?
Yes.
Yeah, an art student. What are the things you need? Literature is very important. We do a lot of writing. Literature is very important. You do a lot of writing. English is important too. Of course, you cannot emphasize even math. You know, sometimes we think that math is all for science students. No, everywhere you go, you do math. Let me tell you, immigration law, right? There are a lot of math in its calculation that we do. So all these things, you need math, you need English, you need literature, which is very, very important. Then you need all your art subjects. All of them are important for you to study law. But remember, when you want to study law, you must be above average, because you should be representing people who think higher of you. So you must be above average. You have to step up in your education. You have to study hard. Like the doctor said, it's not a time for you to go to party. It's a time to sit down and study. So all your art courses are necessary for you to study law.
How many years do we spend in the university to study law? The law school, how long does it take for me?
The law school takes 3 years. But in Nigeria, it's 1 year. In Canada, it's 3 years after your first degree.
Okay.
So roughly you'll be doing 7 years.
Okay.
In Canada.
Okay.
But it's not like that in Nigeria.
Okay. For you to become a qualified lawyer in Nigeria, you have it in mind that after the school, you have to go for your law school. I think that's a year.
Yes, that's a year.
The law school in Nigeria is 1 year. But the moment you are planning, I want to travel out of Nigeria, you know that you're going to spend more than. You need to. Okay, I have someone here that wants to say 1 or 2 things about law. One of the whole students, the person of Remy Thompson, a round of applause. She's a 92 set. It's a 92 set, one of us. Yes, yes.
Good morning, students.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, students.
Please, let's
Good afternoon,
respond.
students. It's nice to have you all here. Number one, for your WAEC or your NECO to do law, you need to pass maths, English. Maths and English is compulsory for everybody. That's one. Number two, you must pass literature, CLK. If you are not doing government, now you have 5 important ones you must do: maths, English, civic education, the literature, and no, literature is the extra. The first 5: maths, English, civic,
Computer.
government, and CLK. You all languages. If you are going to the indigenous, Unilag, LASU, Federal University, you must have a language. Either you do Yoruba, you do Igbo, you must pass a language. Because when the universities are going to choose, they will first look at their own indigenous people before they now throw it out. That's number one. Number two, from the speaker, one of the other things, if you are doing law in Canada or America, you must have a degree first. The reason why I spoke is a lot of people just feel, oh, I'm going to America, I'm going to Canada to do law. Nobody will accept you with WAEC for law. Forget it. You must go there and do a degree before you can go and apply for law school. It's different from the way we understand it here. You can go to England, you can go to Poland and do law straight away with your WAEC, but you must do 2 years A-levels or a year as access course, which is called foundation degree. You are now having all these colleges doing it in Nigeria now. You do a foundation degree. Nobody is going to take WAEC or NECO and you think you apply to university. They don't do it. No direct, all this indirect entry, they don't have it. You are going to go and do 1 year access course. Access course called foundation year. All this University of Hertfordshire, University of East London, they're all doing it. But you must go and do that 1 year. Is that clear? Don't get, oh, and my mom said we are going to America, where I'm going to go and do law. Forget it. You are not going to go and do law. You are going to first go and do another degree. Is that clear?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A round of applause for our. Oh, Mommy has stood up. She's explained so many things. These are things you, by the time you go for your whatever, you want to travel out, I want to do this. There are some things, if they ask you and you are like, you don't know, they'll just be looking at you. Does this one know what he wants there? So please, let's try to talk. I have someone here who wants to ask a question.
Sorry, I wanted to ask. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sule Awao, Divine Victory.
Again, Sule.
Awao, Divine Victory.
Wow, Divine Victory.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
And I wanted to ask if I'm in SS2 grade science, if language is important for science students, like to do it.
Okay. He's asking if language, as a science student, is it necessary for you to study a language? Another question?
And the second one is that if someone finishes studying medicine and he wants to study law, is it possible?
Yes, so that's good. What's up, double honors? And for me, are you ready to answer that?
The first question, somebody should answer that. That's for science in Nigeria. That's the first one.
For science students in Nigeria, it's not compulsory. It is not compulsory for you to study a particular language. But if you know that you have the flair for it, or you are interested in a particular language, and there's opportunity for you to learn it, please do. I've answered that.
Okay, so second one, can you be a medical doctor and still go and study law? Of course. No. Of course, what we just said is for you to go to law school, you must have a first degree. So whatever you build on your first degree does not matter, right? It's just for you to have those courses. Of course, when you're in school, like I said, we have advisors. So when you speak to them, they'll be able to tell you the things that you require. And even some people that do double honors, they do it like if they're in the university at that time, not necessarily in medical school are going to, that one is a bit complicated. I think for that one, you must finish one before you go to another, but it is possible. Let me just say, it is possible because all you need to do is just to build on what you have. But like my other person said, you can't just come with WAEC and say you want to go to law school in Canada. It's not possible, but you must have a foundation which you will now continue to build on. How far you want to go is now your choice.
Okay, thank you, Fumi. Any other country? Any other question? Any other question? You have a question? Please come forward. Thank you. A round of applause for her.
Ma, does that mean you can study as a medicine in school? I mean, as a doctor in secondary school and go to university and study law?
No, the issue is this. As you heard now, if you are in the sciences and you want to become a medical doctor, you go for the study. Yeah. After studying for being, you have become a doctor. I'm a doctor. And now I'm like, oh, I have a flair for law. I want to study law. You will have to go for maybe a diploma, or if you want to go back to having that first degree in law, that's another step. Or you want to go for yes. Yes. Okay. No, you have to, by the time you want to go to university, they will ask for those requirements for that law. In Nigeria, we're talking of Nigeria. If you study sciences here, and you are like, after my head, I want to become a lawyer, you will be told to write your GCE, where you will now write those courses as in literature, government, the other ones, physics, chemistry, biology, and all those things. Those are the ones you studied earlier. Fumi, is it
sorry, I didn't get so.
Okay, the question is, as a secondary school student, you study sciences, and then after WAEC, you're like, I want to study law.
Yeah.
What do you do then? What is the required of you?
Yeah, are you talking about Nigeria? I think the lady has already answered. Yeah, but she has also already answered that the subject.
Okay, people over there, maybe you study sciences as.
If you have a science, like a science student, right? Yes, what you need to buy science student, what you need to do is to come to their universities to study a first degree.
Okay.
In whatever degree, like I said, psychology, sociology, in whatever, maybe whatever you study. After that, you must have a first degree and finish your first degree. After that, then you now apply to law school, and that is what we call LSAT, the entrance examination. If you pass,
I want to say this. Okay. She studied physics, chemistry, biology, and she's got all the results there. Now she has changed her mind that, I want to study law, and she's in Canada now. What does she have to do now?
That's what I'm saying. The physics, chemistry, biology will give her a first. She will use it to enter a university
and go for this in the line of the sciences.
Anything, to study whether chemistry, biology, physics, and finish. Then apply to law school with entrance exam and go to law school. There's no peg on what to study to go to law school. No peg. As far as you have good grades, because they are diverse. They're looking for people who have diverse knowledge, even science students, yes. But they will teach you about law when you get to law school.
Okay. So thank you very much. I think our time is fast spent, and we want you to appreciate our person, our speaker, Tola SALAU. Fumi, please appreciate her very well. She was the head girl of the 89th set when she was here. So we say thank you, Fumi. We really appreciate you. God bless you. Hello, students. We have said it earlier. She spoke a lot of things about law. As a student now, I told you to clap, some of you. Let's stand up. Let's stand up. That is part of, you have to obey the law. Once you're in this hall, law. Thank you. So I want you to appreciate our speaker once more. It's not easy.